let's go here. For the, sorry.
Disabled.
Yeah, so Los Pepitos, and this is their translation of what the unit was. Los Pepitos Association of Parents with children with disabilities. So there was 22 parents, or 22 parents that had disabled children that had come together and formed this place for their children to be at. And this was the director. And she was one of the founders, and those are her two sons that were born with autism. And her and other parents got together for this group, and Global Health Partners had a relationship with them. They do fundraisers within the country, similar to the Jerry Lewis telethons they would have here. They have telethons there. This is a group picture of some of the ones that had danced for us, and you can see all of the children, and there's even the young lady, because there were some younger adults. They were all deaf, with autism, or either deaf or autism, couldn't speak.
You might add that in the country of Nicaragua, the entire country, there isn't a single medical specialist who can treat these people that is trained in hearing and this other forms of disability. No help at all from the government.
But this is about more than water. It's more than water, like I said before. If you haven't seen the unit, that is what the filtration system looks like. This is the one that we installed at the hospital. It is wind and solar powered. And if you can tell, you can see they're wet. They're not wet because they were sweating. But it wasn't more than water. I want to introduce a gentleman. His name is Michael Mendoza. He's also a Rotarian. He's the founder of Ellen for Hands Foundation. And on the tables I passed around, if you take a minute and you open the unit, there's one on that table.
There's one over
passed out over as you
It's sitting on the chair.
yeah, as you go through. This is okay. This is a hand that we designed. This hand unit, and these companies will put these together. This lady here, she helped put this unit together. So I'm talking with Michael through an introduction, and he says, "Hey, we have these hands." I said, "Great." He said, "We're looking for people who can distribute them. We developed them. I have them. If you can take them and find places, organizations, hospitals that can take these hands and make use of them, I'll be more than happy to, give you some." So we met with him. Oh yeah, that's me. And Doris, me and the intern, we went out, and if you look on the table there, he gave us 6 hands, trained us on how they work, how to put them on, and the uses. And inside the pack, there is a universal way to use the hands. It's kind of works in all languages, in all countries. Kind of tells you how to use the hand, what the hands can be used for, how to put them on. And I said, okay, this seems pretty simple. We just gotta find somebody and give them a hand. I said we can do this.
Yeah.
So me and Doris, between our bags, our carry-ons, we split up the hands. She's got 6 of them. She takes 3, I take 3. We're gonna, get them into the country. This is beyond water. Now, nobody knows that we have these hands. We've talked about it, but nobody really knows what they are, what they do, or how we're going to make use of them. So when we get to Nicaragua, we go to the Pan American Health Organization, or the Nicaraguan Health Ministry, to kind of give you an idea what this is. The organization that actually handles all of the medical procedures, all of the medical needs, all of the medical requests for the entire country, all of the hospitals, all of the clinics, for all of diseases, vaccinations, everything goes through this organization. So we go to this organization, and they give us this great dog and pony show about how the country is so much better under this particular administration. They had like an hour and a half long video, and they just gave us the history of Nicaragua as it relates to the wars that they fought in, and how they do so much better under one administration or another. And in the meantime, in between, Doris, she's sneaking over, she's trying to pull doctors, this is one of the doctors that was there, say, hey, she has one of the hands, and she says, hey, look, how do we just want to be able to provide these, does anybody need these? Language barrier. Lady really couldn't understand what she was trying to say, but we tried. So at this point, we're back on the bus, in the van, and Doris hands one over to Bob Schwartz, Global Health Partners. And this was his first introduction to actually seeing this prosthetic hand. Because we had just gotten in the van and gotten to deal with Bob and Javier at this point. And it was interesting because he's looking at it and he's kind of feeling it out and puts it in the back of his mind. Well, he got a call while we were on the trip from another gentleman who was an ambassador to the UN and would come to New York. He was the ambassador from Nicaragua to the UN. Bob Schwartz lives in New York. They have some other people that they are familiar with. And this gentleman says, hey, do you have any prosthetic hands? I mean, and he says, I've never gotten a call like that in 10 years. Nobody's ever asked me for a prosthetic hand. It just so happens he gets this call the day or in the time that we're there, and we're trying to hop these hands. So, at this might have to, let's see if I have to hit the play button on that one. Yeah. And so the gentleman that we end up finding, it happens that we're going to his town. Okay, we're going to his town, and he needs
We have emotion.
and this is him. So we're all standing around.
What you can do.
And I'll let you.
So I want to go over a little bit about how to use the hand.
His name is Antonio,
There is
and this is the judge. This is who he works for. Was a former ambassador to the UN.
So you should be able to. So toothbrush, paint, steering wheel, pen and pencil, phone, spoon and fork.
Diferentes tipos de prótesis.
Right. The way that you would go, okay, and to release, just put it down.
Sí, sí.
One,
Sí.
okay, pull down. So you can turn, okay. And here, our arms kind of naturally have a natural bend, but you can.
We're all standing around watching this. And I mean, you're talking about an emotional moment. You can't see everybody, but they're back here like they're sitting here. You're talking about an emotional moment. I mean, snot, tears, trying to just hold it all together. It was only that easy.
That's impressive. Really impressive.
And this is Michael Mendoza training me. Me and Doris Wink trained us on how to do this. So I'm a virgin.
Okay. That's something else.
Like a son.
Because that man was one for a day. They go on and two-person deal, the cab driver and the victim.
That's this.
Yeah.
And one of the issues that Antonio had was that after he lost his arm, his gait was off. The arm has a certain amount of weight that helps you keep your balance. And one of his main complaints was that he couldn't keep his balance after he lost his arm. Now, he had just lost his arm in December. and this was June. So this was, and he had 2 operations. There's different ways that, you know, if you have your limb amputated based on trauma or medical, it's different. Because in medical, they can tie off and they know exactly where they can, you know, tie off and cut your, amputate your limb. But when in trauma, it's a little different. And so they tried to save as much as they could. They had to go back, do a second operation, and take off a little bit more. And it's interesting, this picture here, because he was sitting next to me and I wanted to have a picture on his phone, on my phone, to have a name to go with it. And when I showed it to him, he told me, he said, "Wow," he said, "I look normal," because you couldn't see his arm. And it's those little things that, you know, I never thought about. And here we are again, when we walked away from that event, and there's Antonio's arm, and there he has his arm on. As we all walk off, you see Ken and John, and it, you know, it was just a great moment, I might have been snotting back there when I was back there taking that picture. So one of the things with the hands, it's part of the nonprofit that I have. We have 3 countries of interest, and there was a study done by UC Berkeley as a grant for the Ellen Ford Hands Foundation. And all of the countries in the world had numbers that they went out and looked at who they have their amputees. So in Nicaragua, you've got about 5,837 amputees. Their target was 15%. And then Tanzania, we're headed to Tanzania with H2Open Doors. I'll be going next month in October. I'm taking 30 hands. Tanzania, they have a situation there where they hunt albinos or hunt people for their limbs because they believe that there's gold, something in their limbs. So we're taking the hands there, and I've been in contact with hospitals to make sure that the hands get to places where people can get them. They're free, but I would like to see them not be misused, or countries get these and try to sell them. And then the other project we'll be going to Vietnam, and they've went and done projects in these, but in Vietnam we'll take some hands with H2Open Doors. It's another project that we're currently working on, and just recently I started talking with another Rotary club about another project in Africa. But at another later date, I'd love to get our club involved with doing this, and if we can kind of support the cause. It's something that's good. Currently, we now have shipped over 30 hands to Nicaragua as a pilot program. When we were in the hospital, we went to the hospital, we did the filtration system. I went through the amputee section at the hospital, and I met this gentleman here, Badilio.
He looks like Snoop Doggy Dogg. He does.
You might, you could be right. But I met Badilio. He was in the amputee section of the hospital. He had just had his arm amputated. And this here is one of the doctors. Her husband is actually the doctor who did this. And so we gave her the hospital, 3 arms, 3 hands. And this gentleman called me about 3 weeks ago. He says, "Hey," I get a phone call. He says, "Hey, I want my arm." You're talking about a call that really just hits you? And the first thing I want to do is, "Hey, I'll send it. I got the arm right here. I got it. It's right here. I'm going to rush to FedEx." But it doesn't work like that. I can't FedEx the arm to Nicaragua. It'll never get there. So we shipped 25 to Global Health Partners last week. Global Health Partners is hand delivering those 25, but they have to go to Managua. Then Managua will distribute those 25 to the different hospitals that they feel. I hope that I can get Badilio his arm. We will be going back in November, but we're not going back to that hospital. So there are logistical challenges.
Call Antonio.
and there's a possibility. That's the judge. I mean, he works for the judge. But to date, we have sent 30 hands to Nicaragua with the idea of being able to get hands to all of the hospitals there in Nicaragua, and that's as we did. I wanted to just show you, this is the hospital area. This is the waiting area, and if you turn that, this is a hospital in Nicaragua. These people are waiting to be seen. Pouring down rain. This is just one section. This may be for, you know, they have different waiting areas. This is outside. That's what the hospitals there look like. And that was the working conditions we were in when we were doing you see the mud. That was, you know, them as they were doing that. USAID had been down there. Ken doing his work. And a little bit, you know what, I think I'm about done.
Yeah.
Make one last comment on why conditions are so rough down there. Nicaragua is the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere outside of Haiti. And the government there, you know, was a socialist government. They've been receiving aid from Castro's Cuba and from Venezuela. But that aid has stopped now because those other countries are broke also. So maybe there's a lesson here, you know, hopefully it doesn't go over everybody's head, that, you know, everyone's responsibility becomes no one's in these socialist countries. Nobody works. When you get to the capital city and you don't see a single construction crane, the national bird of Hong Kong and all that, you know, but there are none there in Managua, Nicaragua, no cranes. So it tells you something. But the people are still wonderful and they need help, but they're just trapped in this system. That's enough politics. I'm not saying anymore.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you so much. More to come, I'm sure.